Welcome back to not DC Daily, but we just had DC Daily. We just saw you guys. Well, now we're doing Tier List Tuesday. So, welcome everyone to this now separate show for Tier List Tuesday. Today, now that the newest in the pantheon of Fantastic Four films has come out, a little jagged there, I apologize. We are going to be ranking them now. Not there are I've seen one that Liz hasn't seen. Liz has seen one that I haven't seen. Tried to watch it before, but I didn't have the time to. But we are going to be getting into the wonderfulness of Tier List Tuesday. So stay tuned after this intro. Maybe actually, no, I won't do the new intro. I'll just introduce myself because hello. I'm John. Nice to meet you. We're going to be getting into it today. We're going to be talking about all four timelines, 5 films. Just going to be, but first, before we, get into that, that's it. That's it for now. Because we don't really have an intro. So, also, hello, Liz. Liz is here with us. Of course she is. Why the fuck wouldn't she be here?
Hey, gang.
Hello. Let me find your thing. I can't for the life of me see these things anymore. I don't have good vision anyway. But today we're going to be getting into. Hold on. Bring the ticker back. Got to bring the fucking ticker back. But welcome, Enterprising and Ron. Hello. Obviously, guys, if all of you who are not commenting are watching, the tier list for this specific one is in the live chat right now, so you can go. This is live,
baby.
Guy. Welcome.
Live.
This is live. We are fully live. Welcome, foolish mortals. That is good for me because I look like Kratos, so I mean, I've gotten that comparison a bunch of times, so I'm not trying to inflate my ego or anything. I'm just saying. So anyway, as I was saying, if you guys want to participate, then by all means, the first link in the live chat, you can click on that and go into the Fantastic Four, ranking the Fantastic Four films. But first, before we do that, we have last week's ranking to cover in regards to the Superman actors. But we wanted to get into what all of you guys voted for. But as we all know, me and Liz's combined list here, the only ones that we haven't seen, that neither of us have seen, was Tom Welling and Kirk Allen. So even though it's probably not fair that we put them on the list, we, decided to try to fit a place for them in the overall list. But we're going to go from most votes first. Obviously, Christopher Reeve, the most votes. He got S tier. Everyone voted S. All 4 people voted S. And then we have Tyler Hoechlin, who 3 people voted S, and then 1 person voted B. David Cornsweet, 3 people voted S, and 1 person voted A. So that was really interesting. And then George Reeves all across the board. You had some goated based people voting S and A, and then you had some not so great people voting B and C.
But those are people
the granddaddy of superhero stuff, guys.
But there's still a lot of people not familiar with him, so that's not surprising.
Still, I mean, I haven't seen him, but I give respect where it's due. Plus, again, as I said before, I would probably be disowned from this household if my mom heard me talking shit about George Reeves. So, there is that as well. But then we go to Tom Welling. For the most part, he did okay. 2A, 2B, not 1A. Anyway. But then Dean Cain, everybody voted B. Kind of nice, because I know Dean Cain, he's kind of hated now because he's kind of an asshole. But it's nice people saw him he's not a bad Superman, he's just a dick. But speaking of people who aren't dicks, Brandon Routh, who is pretty goated, but unfortunately, due to the fact that both appearances of his Superman were kind of wasted, he doesn't really get farther than a B, unfortunately. But he did give us the greatest Superman suit we have ever gotten in live action. I will stand by that. Then Henry Cavill, he was kind of all over the place, mainly B, but one person, probably Dan, voted A, and then one person voted C, probably Caleb, and then finally Kirk Allen. Again, not many people are familiar with him. He's
This
in
is
the
not
weird
known
film
yet.
serials in the late 40s, early 50s. So, I do think that but again, as Liz said multiple times when we were doing this last week, there is the respectability there. Like, he's the first one. He's even though it
He's
wasn't
the
a
first
movie
to
or a
ever do it.
show,
Yep.
he was the first one. So there is respectability there. That's why we put him in B, but everyone else seemed to put him in C. But the average vote, obviously Christopher Reeve, David Courtsweat, and Tyrell Hoechlin remained in A, but due to the randomness of George Reeves, he went down to, sorry, they were all in S. George Reeves went down to A. Tom Welling stayed in A. Brandon Routh, Dean Cain, and Henry Cavill were all in B. And then Kirk Allen, unfortunately, went down to C. But this isn't what you guys want to see. Yes, Tyler was S. Very base, Frankie G. We will get into that super chat later when we get into the tier list. So don't worry, Geeky Guy. We will get to that when we're talking about that specific film. But moving on to what we have in store for you today is all the Fantastic Four movies. Now, I know this movie was unreleased, but it would be, hurtful not to count it because it was a completed film. They never intended to release it. They only made it to keep the rights. And eventually, when the 2004 movie was made, they worked with, I think it was Constantine Films that had the rights. That was kind of because I know Roger Corman's like production companies went from like here, that, and the other thing. So I think he still held the rights. So they co-produced it under that banner. I believe so. If I'm getting that wrong, please tell me in the comments. But so first is Fantastic Four. We have who is in this movie? I know. I think what was his name? Yes, Jay Underwood, who also played the asshole boyfriend in Uncle Buck. By the way, fun fact: he plays the Human Torch. Alex Hyde White plays plays Mr. Fantastic. Rebecca Stabb plays Sue Storm, and Michael Bailey Smith plays the Thing. So I've seen this movie. Liz has not. So it's all going to be up to me in regards to this little movie that came out in the 90s. The only Fantastic Four movie to have a 4 in its yearly release year. So yeah, that's nice to see. But everyone else came out in 5. Interesting. So I can't wait. 2035, next Fantastic Four movie. But next up, obviously, the more famous adaptation with Fantastic Four in 2005 with Yoan Grufford as Mr. Fantastic, Jessica Alba as Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, Michael Chiklis as the Thing, Ben Grimm, and then, of course, your boy Chris Evans as Human Torch / Johnny Storm. So obviously, this is the one that a lot of people know, a lot of people grew up with. Has its faults, but obviously we'll get into them. I don't think they're half bad. Then we get to its sequel, obviously same cast now with and obviously Julian McMahon as Dr. Doom. I forget who played Dr. Doom in the 94 version. But this one you have the Silver Surfer, obviously the Norman Rad version.
Joseph Culp.
Yep. Played by Lawrence Fishburne, voiced by Lawrence Fishburne. The body is played by Doug Jones. And then Galactus, I think that was also voiced by Lawrence Fishburne or something when he was, Big Fart Cloud. But yes. And then finally, the one everybody wants to forget, Fantastic Four, or more affectionately called Fant Four Stick because of the horrible placement of the 4 on the poster. Or, as my friend likes to call it, Fant Four Shit, because many people dislike this movie. So obviously you had Miles Teller as Mr. Fantastic / Reed Richards, Michael B. Jordan as Human Torch / Johnny Storm, Janie Bell as the Thing / Ben Grimm, and then Kate Mara as Sue Storm / the Invisible Woman. And then obviously you have the newest film of Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, Eben Moss Bachrach as the Thing, Joseph Quinn as Human Torch, and Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. So obviously we will be getting into all of this and more right now. So let's really get into this, shall we? Now let's, get rid of that. Boom. There we go. Perfect. So obviously, first things first is we are talking about um Fant Snore Stick. Yes, correct. Um I accidentally put the 2005 one in. Are you sure it was an accident? Are you sure? But also hello Antonio, nice to see you. I voted all D except the newest. Ouch, god damn. All right. So the first one is obviously Fantastic Four from 1994. This is, you could probably find it on YouTube in its entirety.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
how I
I'm gonna
watch.
search for it for sure.
It's just ridiculous in every sense of the word. And, it's cheap. It's, small little movie that again, it didn't intend to be ever released. Cheesy effects, bad effects, but for me personally, it kind of has this weird charm you can't help
Yeah, it's a
but
classic.
enjoy.
Yeah.
It's so innately cheesy, but it's so fun. And because of that, I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a decent little movie, and technically the only comic accurate Doctor Doom we've ever gotten. So there is that. Obviously, I'm the only one that could talk about this because Liz hasn't seen it yet. If I had to put it in anywhere, people are probably gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna put it in B, like
No, I'm
right in the
fine with that. Yeah.
middle of the road. It's not like, I'd give it like, from what I remember watching, I'd give it like a 5.5 out of 10. Again, it's just like it, like all the Fantastic Four movies, good, bad, not anything in between. They have a charm. Maybe
They
not
try.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
Stick, but like most of them have a charm to them that you can't help but enjoy the silliness of it all. Because Fantastic Four, it's very Silver Age. It's a very silly like time in comics. So I can't help but enjoy it for what it is. So now we move on to stuff that we can both talk about, is the next one, which is of course the 2005 movie. I remember seeing this in theaters. I remember seeing both movies in theaters actually. Now the thing is, I was only like 7 years old, 7, 8 years old when I saw this. So I don't really remember a ton of it. So that's
Yeah.
where you come in, and I remember some of it. I remember some aspects. I've rewatched a couple things of this movie, but you're gonna have to come in and maybe come in with more of the
I mean, to be honest,
memory
I
stuff.
I don't remember much myself. I think I saw both of them maybe twice at the most.
I've seen
Um,
both like
I I
once.
I did not see them in theaters. I saw them like when they, on HBO or something when they came out. But yeah, I mean, they're still, I mean, for a majority of us, they're still the first Fantastic Four film. So
Hmm.
there's got to be something said about that. Again, this is kind of what got Chris Evans into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we've seen what he Johnny Storm in Deadpool and Wolverine. So
There.
it,
And by the way, may he rest in peace, Julian
may he rest
McMahon.
in peace.
You
Yeah,
were wasted in both of these movies, but he was a fucking terrific actor. So,
yeah,
and there he is, Stanley. Love
and
it.
buddy. And let's not forget
Um,
Andre Bronner was in this as well. He played General Hagar.
Ah,
Um,
yeah, I don't remember that
so
at all.
yeah, may he rest in peace as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, I mean, as far as where I'd want to put it, I agree. I like Michael Chiklis as the thing the best out of everybody so far.
Yep.
I also like just the rendering of the thing. Again, I've said with the most recent film, I don't understand the freaking overlapping flappy eyebrow situation, but this thing looks pretty good.
It's
So yeah,
practical. That's why it's better.
yeah. So
But
what are we thinking for ranking?
so it's one of those movies I vaguely remember. I liked it as a kid. Like again,
Yeah,
it's like a very like kid-friendly movie, even though it has like a lot of like sexual shit in it.
yeah,
But
and it's
like,
goofy.
I mean, you have the stuff with Jessica Alba and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I didn't realize Andre Brower was in this movie. But yeah, I'm again. It's not. thing is, a Fantastic Four, it's not like bad. It's not
Yeah.
like, what we get to later on. It's charming. It has some good arcs. It has some good ideas. The cast is good. Like 75% of that cast, they were like pitch perfect in their roles. So I think like it's not the greatest thing ever, but again, as I was saying with the 1994 one, it's charming and it has some heart. So with that, I kind of want to put it in B,
I'm fine with
but
that.
so I would say maybe it's a little bit better than Fantastic Four from
Yeah.
1994.
Well, again, and you also have to take into account how many people have actually seen each film. So
Yeah, exactly. Um, then we move on to the next movie that unfortunately canceled that part of the franchise with Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. This one I remember even less of. I had to read the synopsis to like kind of like jog my memory on what happens. I don't really remember. I mean, I think the sexual shit was kind of toned down with Jessica Alba's character.
yeah.
So I know that Reed was like there was the dancing scene. I know Doctor Doom comes back for a hot second. He tried to like steal the surfboard. I remember like Silver Surfer looking really good for the time.
Yeah.
Like it
a
looked
hundred
damn good.
percent.
And
Yeah.
Galactus, like say what you will about like him being a cloud. Like I'm not talking about comic book history. The effect looked good. Like I will say the
Yeah.
fart cloud looked good, like in regards to it looking like a fucking giant cosmic cloud. And I think how they defeated it was a little bit more creative than what they did with Galactus in the new one. But obviously we'll get into that. But I remember it even as a kid not being like, yeah, this is not all that great. I'd probably put it in C tier because the first one is a little bit better, but it's not again,
Yeah.
it's not bad. It's just like, it's kind of mid.
Yeah. No, that's
So
fair. I'm
so
fine with
I'll put it in C tier. Now only you can talk about this one.
that. I'd
The
rather not.
wonderfulness that is fan four stick. Liz, what do you have to say about this lovely little
The
movie?
the only thing I could say about it is that it was well made, and that's about it. Everything else was trash. The writing was garbage. The acting was garbage because the writing was garbage. They edited it to death. There were so many plot holes. There were so many issues with the pacing. With I mean, this cast had no chemistry whatsoever either. And again, I don't know if it's because of all the reshoots. I don't know if it was because of just the general tone around set or what the deal was, but distinctly remember this is the first and only time I've ever sat throughout an entire film and just at any moment felt like I should just leave. Like this is just the
That's how I
whole
felt
time I
watching
was
Thor:
just
Love and
so
Thunder.
yeah, I was just so upset the entire time sitting in that theater, and there wasn't a whole lot of people in there with me. I went and saw it with a friend, and literally the entire like every 5 minutes, I'm like, "What? Like this is just awful." And I really haven't felt that way about so strongly about a film right from Jump Street. So I mean, this is going in D for me, 100%. It's just like I said, all I can say is the quality of it is good, but that certainly does not a film make. So, and it's unfortunate because the cast is stacked and you hope the best. I mean, I think these people were all intending to, oh, this is going to put us on the map and we're going to be set. We're going to be with the Marvel universe for years to come. I think that was what the hope was, and not happening, gang. It totally missed the mark. It's such a shame.
Yeah, they tried to do the Dark Knight for Fantastic Four, not realizing that the Fantastic Four should not be like the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
fair too.
that's pretty much what I've heard. I've heard nothing but terrible things about it. Um, I can't judge it. I have not seen it, but I'm like morbidly curious at the very most. Like maybe, but like, uh, we'll see. Um, yeah, that's what it was. Okay. But now Geeky Guy did give us a super chat, $5. Thank you for that. Apparently, Fanforstic, I do remember reading this. The
Yeah,
original script by Jeremy
yeah,
Slater for the 2015 film was really good, and I really
yes,
do wish Fox went with it instead of doing a budget constraint. I
yep.
agree. I've heard nothing but good things about like one of the first few scripts, but then it was kind of like this game of telephone. Like for some reason, Fox did not talk to Jeremy Slater at all. He had to talk to either Josh Trank or another producer who would then talk to the studio, and the script went through like 9 or 10 or 11 different
Yeah.
rewrites. The
Yeah, and I mean, this
Galactus was
was
supposed to show up
yeah,
in one of the drafts. Mole Man was supposed to be the villain at one point because that was Tim Blake
yeah.
Nelson's
And I mean,
character.
this was really before, like, heavy social media and, so, like, the fact that even I had heard about all of this stuff leading up to and then after the fact, like, just shows, like, how chaotic the
Yeah,
entire
and the
situation
thing
was.
is, it was one of those cases where nobody was really the hero because Fox were assholes by, cutting down Josh Trank's vision, ordering reshoots, apparently taking his cut away from him, and all this other shit. But then at the same time, Josh Trank was being, one of like he was handed the keys to the kingdom, and he frankly didn't earn them at that point. He had one good movie under his belt, and he was an amateur small filmmaker that got this huge thing of, and almost initially what was promised carte blanche for whatever he wanted, and then they essentially were like, nope, that's not the case. And then he went off, like he treated the cast terribly, especially Kate Mara, because he wanted a black Sue Storm and a black Johnny Storm, but Fox was like, no, you can only do one because we're racist, apparently. So he chose Michael B. Jordan, but because they wanted Kate Mara because she was hot off of House of Cards, so they were like, okay, we want Kate Mara, and he apparently treated her like complete shit the entire time. He would yell at the like he had a good working relationship with Miles Teller, but then like that soured and he would just went essentially Kenneth Branagh and Martin Campbell like on Frankenstein and Green Lantern, where he just went crazy, and Fox didn't help, the cast didn't help, and nothing really helped. So nobody was like the hero. I would have liked to have seen Josh Trank's vision, but that doesn't excuse the fact that he was an asshole to people that didn't deserve it, and Fox were assholes for like promising all of this shit and then not living up to any of that. So it was just it was a DOA kind of move because they saw Dark Knight and they were like, we want to do that for Fantastic Four for some reason, because they were initially, obviously they were in motions to do a sequel to Rise of the Silver Surfer, and then eventually that fell through, and it was supposed to be more of like I think Seth Graham Smith was like writing and directing, and like a couple other people. It was supposed to be a lighter film, and then that came out, and they're like, okay, no, we have to have a Fantastic Four that's like darkly serious for some reason. So yeah, Doom was going to be Galactus's herald while he was stuck in the negative zone. He was planning on returning to Earth, killing Galactus with an antimatter weapon, and be the ruler of Earth. There was even going to be a time jump after the first act where the Fantastic Four accept their powers and are loved by the world. That was also, and in Slater's script, they encountered Galactus in the negative zone, and he would have fired a cosmic beam at them, giving them their power. So yeah, it would have been very different from the comics, but it sounded like an interesting idea. So, obviously enough about Fan Four Stick. We still have one more movie to talk about, and that is the newest Fantastic Four film with the Fantastic Four First Steps. Obviously, we've gone at length about our thoughts on the movie. We both liked it, didn't love it. Liz liked it, I think, more than I did, but it's still an overall decent movie. I think for me personally, just the editing and structure killed the movie for me. I felt that some points were rather weak. We didn't get enough character stuff, and that prevented it from being better in my eyes. If I had the choice, in terms of putting this film on a tier list, I would probably put it in B. But Liz, you might give it a higher grade. I don't know. What are
Yeah,
your
I
thoughts on
I would
this?
put it in A just as far as given as a whole, it's still the best of all of them.
Right.
It's certainly not an S though, because again, as we talked about, there were things that they could have done differently. Like you said, if there was an extra 20, 30 minutes to the film, that would have changed a lot of things as well. So, but certainly not an S.
Yeah. I would give you that. I'd give you, an A. Um but now we
Yeah, The
get into
Watcher, same. I loved the chemistry between the cast. So, for me, I just think, it's yeah. Oh, well, and
um
they said the same about the Fox Fantastic Four cast as well. I agree with that too.
yeah. Yeah, the director drama was crazy on Fant Four Stick. Um, I loved Appa Sue. All the scenes and running gags where she lost her clothes was always funny and something straight out of anime. LOL, I've always enjoyed those films and loved Evans. Yeah, I will say, I think, again, Yoan Grufford, Chris Evans, and Michael Chiklis were all better than their counterparts in First Steps because it just First Steps, I feel like we didn't get enough character stuff to make me like
Yeah,
care about them.
yeah,
And it's like I think with the exception of Vanessa Kirby, but like the bar was so low with Jessica Alba. Again, that's not her fault. She was
right,
hired to be attractive, and that was
right.
it, and not have an actual character because God forbid. But it was like again, the bar was so low that anything would have been better. But even with that, Vanessa Kirby did do a lot for what little was given to her with all this character stuff that I feel like was cut out. Um, and I feel like, I just didn't buy Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. I thought, as good as Joseph Quinn was as the Human Torch, as Johnny Storm, I feel like he lacked that like charisma that Chris Evans, that dude was like born to play Johnny Storm. Like don't get me wrong, his Captain America was great. That dude
Well,
was
and,
born to
and
play
again,
Johnny
the
Storm.
fact that they brought him back in Wolverine Deadpool Wolverine just goes to show you how
Wolverine
beloved
Superman. Now
he
that's a comic
yeah.
I want to see.
It just goes to show you how much of an impact he made playing that character. So
Yeah, it's just like he was just so endlessly charismatic, and they really nailed that side of the character. But I still like how Joseph Quinn was intelligent, and that kind of made up for it a little bit when they kind of sanitized him by not being like an over the top womanizer, which I would have liked to see, because then that could be a decent character flaw. Like that could, that could have been really good. Like he starts off as like the womanizing kind of, not an asshole, but like kind of, not really caring, but at the same time, like still smart and still like all this stuff. And then when he gets into like Shalabal and like trying to figure out the language, that's when he's like, no, 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 I can't have the sex right now. I got to focus on finding the language. And like, and then he maybe like falls in love with the idea of like, etymology and that kind of thing, or like just falling in love with the idea of like being like this intelligent guy. And that's like, and then he realized like, oh wow, I was kind of being a piece of shit and not taking this seriously. And that could have been a good character arc, but they unfortunately had to get rid of that because they got to sanitize stuff. I get why, but I still don't care for it. I mean, yeah, obviously Evans was originally a comedic actor. I think it was Sunshine that really showed off his more dramatic chops, even though he was still kind of like a recluse in that movie. That showed that he could do dramatic stuff. So yeah. But now we're gonna move on to the live. Of course, I'm gonna, do this, but we are gonna do this is gonna go in. Is that B? Yes, that's B. So we put that in B tier. Then we put the original in B tier as well. Rise of the Silver Surfer goes in C tier. Fantastic Fan Four Stick or Fan Four Shit goes in D tier, and then Fantastic Four, we are going to put that in A tier. So this is our list as we saw from the other one. Now the most votes, for the most part, most people voted. We got one person that voted D. I think somebody said that was. I think Enterprising said that was an accident. So most people voted S tier. We're the only ones that voted A tier, and then one person accidentally put it in D tier. Then, for the most part, the 1994 actually got higher than what we said, which was interesting. Two people voted A tier. We voted B tier, and then obviously, Frankie G put it in D tier. Then most people put B tier, and then two people put D tier. Rise of the Silver Surfer. We had it. I don't know. We didn't have it in B tier. Somebody voted B tier. Couple people, including us, C tier, and then one person in D tier, and then everybody put Fan Stick in D tier.
man,
Yeah,
it's that
yeah,
bad.
and it's a shame because, like as you said, it's well made, and you could see that there's a good movie in there somewhere. It's just hacked to hell, and the
Yeah,
drama like
yeah.
prevented it from doing that. Then the average vote, for the most part, the A and the D score brought Fantastic Four First Steps from S to, um, you know, A tier, and then for the most part they stayed the same. This went down to B. I think all of them went down one. This went down to B tier. This went down to C tier. This stayed in C tier, and this obviously was going to be in D tier. But a couple things that I did want to mention real quick. Just the Rotten Tomatoes score. Obviously, just kind of going bit by bit. The lowest is obviously Fanforstic with 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. And then then surprisingly, the first Fantastic Four movie at 27%. Again, these are all the critic scores. Then you have the unreleased 1994 Fantastic Four film with 33%. And then surprisingly, Silver Surfer has a better score, even though most people think that that's kind of the worst one of the two. But that has a 37. And then, of course, obviously the newest one, the only one that's in the positive is Fantastic Four First Steps, bring back the which has not been seen since 1994. And then one more cute thing, movie costumes ranked by comic accuracy, just like kind of for fun. The unmatching yeah. I mean, I get why they look like that. You have like the springs on like Miles Teller's Mr. Fantastic suit. Then you have like the patches that kind of look like an oven on Human Torch. Like, I get it. Still looks like shit, but they're like practical, tactical kind of vibe. Ugly still. Most of the movie was ugly though. Even I can say that because I've like seen clips from it. So, I will say I actually prefer these to the newer ones. Like, it fits the time, and I do like the Silver Age like sweater vibe. But like, honestly, it's just maybe because the Thing just looks better without a shirt. I think him
That's
wearing a
fair. Yeah.
sweater just looks weird to me. Um, but yeah, I kind of agree. The Watcher. I think maybe they need to be in like the 50s and 60s, maybe, but like, well, maybe with the exception of Fanforce. Like, I haven't seen it, but from what others have said, that's where it belongs. But I don't mind this. And then I will say this is easily the best one for me.
That was so
Um,
cool. Yeah.
I will still stand by this. John Krasinski was a better Mr. Fantastic than Pedro Pascal. There, I
No,
said it.
it's true. Once you see him in that role, you can't unsee him in that role.
Yeah,
Truly,
he
he
was
would have been
perfect.
great.
He
Yeah.
was perfect. And the beard actually fits here, unlike in the 60s where most guys were clean shaven. I'm just saying, Pedro, fucking shave your goddamn wispy ass beard next time. Barely call that thing a fucking beard.
Hey,
And
what
then
do
the
you call
updated
him?
Human Torch suit. I mean, this barely counts, but like, it still looks good for what it is. And
So
again,
good.
I like what it was
So
going
good.
for, and it's still fun. Like, too bad he gets his
So
skin ripped
good.
off. Whoops a
I
daisies.
mean,
You
he
know.
was running his mouth. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but like, come on. Come on. It was still good though. Anyway. And then like again, very stupid, silly, ridiculous, but
Comic accurate.
it is comic accurate. However, I don't think these are very comic like from what I know of like the retro suits, I don't think they ever really looked honestly, I think the most comic accurate is probably these.
That's what I'm saying.
But I like from the what little research I've done, I don't think they ever the most accurate is probably Mr. Fantastic because I don't think they ever had like the white shoulders and chest and all that. But if I had to pick a favorite, it's probably between because I'm like, what other suit is there? And I'm like, oh yeah, the fucking Human Torch from Deadpool and Wolverine. And I'm like, oh right, yeah, I forgot. But that's one's honestly probably the best one. In addition to the Multiverse of Madness, Mr. Fantastic suit, those are probably my favorite. I forgot like all about those and all because I'm like, oh yeah, there's three, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, there's not. There's more, and the two I forgot about are probably the best ones. I do hope that like Yoan Grufford maybe comes back, and maybe even Alex Hyde Pierce come back as sort of like a Council of Reeds kind of thing. I think that would be really really good. But yeah, excuse me. John K looks okay. You look weird. You fucking look weird. Anyway, but yeah, just like a cute little thing. But that seems to be it for today. Obviously, you guys can still vote. In the poll. It's still in the live chat, but however, if you can't see it, actually, you know what? Let me grab it again for you guys. Let me grab it again. So, if you have not voted yet and you still want to, obviously, then you guys can pop in and vote for what even do. But yes, obviously, enterprising vote for Pedro. Thanks for that. But yeah, that was a little fun. We did not too many, only 5 movies to talk about, and they were all fairly easy to rank, so we weren't here for too long. But that is it for Tier List Tuesdays. That is it. Well, even though it's technically Wednesday now for people on the East Coast. But thank you for watching. We will be here tomorrow, Wednesday, although Liz unfortunately will not be joining us, but she'll be here next week. It's okay, guys. But me and Dan are going to be here tomorrow talking about God knows what. We're going to be here for 17 hours. It's going to be great. But thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, do all the things. Let us know what villain would you want to see for a Fantastic Four sequel? And with that, not look up because that's DC. So, prepare for doom.